Hello everybody, it's Sandra from Inspired Keys, bright and early in Melbourne, Australia. Right now the time is 8:05 a.m. and this morning what I will be doing is a in-depth tutorial and critique based on the way an Academy member, Inspired Keys Academy member, Rachel, has played. Now Rachel recorded an audio recording of her playing and then she sent it over to me. And so what you get as an Inspired Keys Academy member is that you get a critique, a very in-depth critique of how you play so that you can play better. So of course for you guys watching, you're just watching like me playing, but what I have going on in my laptop is that every single thing that I play gets shown on a screen with the exact note and keys and chords that I'm actually playing. And if you want to access that view, which is going to be really helpful in seeing exactly what I do, and then you can imitate and you can learn from there, then that video is available inside the Inspired Keys Academy. Now, you don't want to miss a week-long discount that I'm running for just this week only. For the annual membership, usual price is $2.99 per year. This week I'm running a very special discount. So from Monday to Friday I am having discounts, but the price climbs throughout the week. So you want to get in early. So today being Monday, well, it's still Monday in Melbourne, but this discount code is with effect already. What you want to do is to make sure you use the discount code 199 because you get $100 off if you sign up today, Monday, the 7th of May. And then Tuesday, the price climbs $20. So the discount code is 219. So you're locked in at just $219 per year. And then on Wednesday, the discount code is 239 and you're locked in at $239 forever. On Thursday, the price climbs up to 259, so the discount code for Thursday will be 259, just 3 numbers. And on Friday the price will climb to 279, so the discount code is 279. So all of the details of the discount codes are in the description box below. Now if you're looking to improve your worship keys playing and really fast track your playing, you want to hire a coach, you want to hire a tutor, you physically can't get to a teacher. I have an Inspired Keys Academy member who tells me that she's from Thailand and she's from a small town and it's very hard for her to get to the city where the teachers are, and that's why she signed up for the Inspired Keys Academy, because you can learn in the comfort of your own home, ask questions and get answers quickly instead of having to wait or travel to the teacher. The Inspired Keys Academy is that solution. So what you get as exact benefits, I don't want to go into the details. You can read that for yourself at inspiredkeys.com/join. But what you definitely don't want to do is to miss out on this very special week-long discount. 199 is the code that's with effect today and it expires today as well. And you're locked in at 199 instead of the usual price of 299 for annual memberships this week only. So I hope to see you in the Academy. And now, before I dive into critiquing Rachel's playing of In Control and share lots of tips about how you can change your chords just to make things sound a little bit better, and aside from many other tips, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And because I'll be going on YouTube Live a lot this week, I want to make sure that you also hit that bell button next to the subscribe button, because that notifies you when I go online. And then you can jump in and watch the video live. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because I give priority Q&A. Ask any worship keys question you have, and I will, if there's a lot, pick a couple and answer live in this video format, live YouTube live video. So the schedule for this week will be also in the description box below. I want to see you at this YouTube live chat session where I'll be answering your questions live, and helping you, because I really want you to go on to your next levels of worship keys playing. So with that, let's get started with Rachel's In Control Hillsong in-depth tutorial. So this is how her playing goes, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to press play and hear her play, and where I feel there's already places where she can improve, I'm going to stop the recording and I'm going to play in response to how perhaps she did something really awesome or how she could get even better. And I think this is really beneficial for all of us. As you watch this video, you're going to catch tips that I share along the way, and I think that's going to help all of us play better. So let's get started. So this is Rachel's very opening. Right, so she's got the tune going, and this is all in the key of G major. She's got, which we definitely hear in the actual Hillsong recording. But the problem I feel with this introduction is it's way too low at the moment. So because I have a 61 key, I'm gonna have to actually go down an octave. And what I hear, right, I'm hearing which is, I feel, for an introduction of a song, really heavy. She's gotten down to some of these extremely low keys that are, just think sort of, so that's middle C, guys. Yep, she's gone like below 2 octaves below middle C, and I just think that's just way too low. I don't know about you, but when I hear something at that kind of a pitch range, I do feel like it's really heavy and almost solemn, and it really depends on what you're trying to achieve, guys. I'm not trying to say that this has to be the only way to play, and I definitely advocate that we should all do things based on how we feel is appropriate to our own churches, because seriously, there are so many kinds of churches out there, and I can't just give you a blanket rule and say do this and you will be okay, because what if this is for a very solemn event, or maybe your church does things this way, right? So make sure to tweak everything I say based on your context. But I feel that in general, right? So assuming it's like a normal situation, that's just way too low. So what I'll do is I will stick to an octave. Like I think this is okay. Like it's a very alto kind of sounds, a low, kind of mellow pitch range. So, but what I'll do is I won't go down to, like, that's just like, you know, doom, right? So I might move it an octave higher, so I'll probably use this pitch range instead. So I might do, and at this point the G is not an octave, because that's just way too solemn, but I'll do it like a fifth. So for this B minor chord, I'm just using a single B that is just one note, not. So think carefully about when you want to double your bass lines, guys, because when you double your bass lines, you do put in a stronger punch and you give a very strong kind of sound, but I don't think being strong all the time makes sense. I'll probably reserve having double like octave bass notes towards the second half of song, maybe starting from verse 2, perhaps from chorus 1, but I probably won't do it in a first introduction. So just something to think about. So let's move straight on with what she does next. Great. Yep. So I think it's really important that we learn how to put in interjections and sort of little decorations in between sections. So I heard, right? So Rachel was, I think, trying to do da, 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 2, 3, right? And that sounds really really good. But for what I heard was that there was a da-da-dum gap, dum, and that makes it a little bit questionable because it sounds like this itself sounds great, okay? But then when you go da-da-dum, and then you pause and then you play, it sounds like you needed a bit of time to go from to. So that's like a seventh apart, and it's a very big gap. And a big gap is not a reason to be late when you play. So what's happening right now is that Rachel's recording is just solo piano, right? So there's no one else in the band, there's no drummer, there's no click track. And as a result, when we play in a context like that, when it's just solo piano or keyboard, you have lots of freedom. And when you have lots of freedom, it's very likely that you deviate from a steady tempo. So we need to be extremely careful with that, especially if you're actually serving and there are tons of people who are singing with you. You don't want to like fluctuate in your tempo. So make sure that in your brain you already have a click track going, and I think that's quite impossible to, because you can't like, you know, install a software. I think you can actually, and that is if you watch my video back a few days ago. I have a video called How to Keep a Steady Tempo, and if you struggle with keeping a steady tempo, guys, you gotta watch that video because I share 7 tips on what you can do, and a lot of which you can actually sort of do on the go. You could do it while you're waiting in line. So it's not like you gotta sit down and just listen to the metronome, although there is one tip that involves the metronome. So go watch that video. But at the back of your brain, literally, if I were to be very mechanical about it, in my brain, I am saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Yeah, I'm actually having that counting at the back of your brain. I'm not sure if you do, and some of you already do. That's awesome. But if you don't, you gotta have it, guys, because when you start a song, the song just unfolds and you can't fluctuate. Always remember what my piano teacher used to tell me, that when you have a piece of music that fluctuates the tempo, so when you have a lot of running notes, you slow down, and then when you have like long held notes, you speed up. That's poor quality music, guys. We gotta respect the steady tempo factor and play as if we're playing with a band, play professionally. And so what I really think we should do is to try and actually practice with a metronome, because the more you do that, I think the more naturally we have that sense of steady tempo in our brain, and the better we can go 1, 2, 3, 4 with very little fluctuations in between. So I'm going to go straight on. Okay, yeah, so something in that was what I heard as well. The lower pitched you go, guys, especially when it comes to lower than middle C, you really want to spread out your notes. And when I say spread out, I really mean sort of not even a fifth. Sometimes you just have to spread it out to an octave. You need more space. So that's called open voicings. I teach about all this in the 31 Days to Better Worship Keyboard Playing ebook, which you can access for $49. But why would you want to do that when you can access that book for free inside the Inspired Keys Academy as well, guys? So go check it out. But the lower you go, the wider your notes should be, because it starts sounding very cloudy, very messy, very thick when you go lower down the pitch. So like if I were to play a triad, that's a C major triad, a C, E, G. And that sounds very nice on the middle C range. It does not sound good an octave lower though. It's a little bit kind of heavy and thick. And then if you go an octave lower still, it's so muddy you probably can't even easily tell what those notes are. And if you go an octave lower still, it's like you might as well just jam your entire wrist down and no one's going to be able to tell what notes they are. So the bottom line is, guys, the lower you go, the more spread out you should be. So what I heard was Rachel did something like yeah, I think it was like a B minor triad all the way 2 octaves below middle C. That's way too low. I definitely don't suggest that, guys. So don't ever do that. I don't even advocate a fifth apart. Like, that's a fifth apart. I think that's just way too low. If I were to have to ever go down to that range, I'll strictly go down to an octave apart only. And that way you get a little bit of clarity. Okay, let's move on. Right, so now she's gone on to verse 1, which is da 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 da. You kind of just need to imagine the tune of verse 1. Da 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 da. Okay, so what I'm hearing now is it's stuff that Rachel can improve right now is her chord voicing or chord shapes. Now the thing is, you can play a chord in a certain way and it sounds a certain way. And what we want to do is to play so that it sounds suitable, like in a contemporary worship style. So one of the best tips you can do this is something that's shockingly simple but sounds awesome, and it's called everlasting 1 and 5. It's basically a little rule that I came up with, and I again talk about this in some of my previous videos and inside the 31 Days to Better Worship Keyboard Playing ebook. Basically, you just play 1 and 5 of the key, and then you just play the bass note, and it's just going to sound way better. So right now, from what I heard, the way Rachel has chosen her chord voicings, it sounds rather classical to me. It's more like a pure chord than a contemporary worship kind of style chord. Okay, so I'm gonna just go back a tiny bit and show you what that was again. Okay, that's all of verse 1. I just want to make sure I catch the beginning of verse 1 again, guys. Okay, I like that E minor chord. I think it was this. So you can access the specific notes video. This is a nice chord voicing. It's E, E, B, D, G. There we go. That's a nice E minor 7 chord. It's a very good chord voicing. Sometimes you just want to sort of memorize what voicings suit what chords, and it's really going to sound so much better. So then she goes on to... Okay, so it was... Right? So... that's all okay in terms of like an interjection, like a da-da. So you could, what she did was whatever she was already playing, she played them again as a bit of an interjection. But then that was her chord 4, and when I say chord 4, I'm referring to chord 4 of G major. So in this case, this is a C chord. I will not use a voicing like that. Whenever it comes to chord 4, I will avoid this sound because I find that this sounds a little bit too pure. So guys, don't sound like you're playing Mozart when you're playing Hillsong, because it just doesn't work. So you can do it and it works in terms of like, people can still sing to it, but I don't think it's like the best sounding contemporary worship sound. Here's where, when it comes to chord 4, guys, use everlasting 1 and 5. So if she went da, 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 there's something that I did, and it was a very small thing that I did, but it made all the difference. So instead of going into C, E, G, I went one step down for the middle note. So E went down to D, and that's a little bit more of a sus chord. It sounds instantly better. And not only that, I feel that that might be a bit too thick for an introduction for the verse 1. So you could even just drop that C and just have, which really, as a D and G on the right hand, it's really just the 1 and the 5, which is basically a simplified version of the everlasting 1 and 5, and it sounds so much better. So instead of playing, so if I was Rachel, I would use this kind of a chord voicing at that very moment in verse 1. Okay, so then here's where Rachel did something like, right? Now she used a sus2, which has an A. The thing about sus though, and this is a very music theory thing, when you have a suspension, you need to resolve so that it sounds good to the ears. Well, you can have unresolved suspensions, but it's a little bit like watching a TV series where there's tension and then there's no resolution, and you just finish watching that TV show or that movie going, I don't feel good because that good person died and, you know, there's nothing good that came out of it. So you will want to hear some resolution, even in music, like from oral sources. So what I would do, Rachel, is not just to put an A, but to resolve the A up a step so that it goes up to B. And then that sounds like a complete G major chord. So that's what I'll do at that very moment. Okay, so that's for that very moment. Okay, that's cool, because I heard her do, so that da is the suspension and da is the resolution, which sounds pretty good. Okay, so the next chord she did. Okay, so this is a chord 4 again, and this time I hear on the right hand something that's a bit of a clash going on, and that is, so there are 3 notes that are just C, D, E basically played down all together at the same time. Now the problem with that, I feel, is that it's a bit too clashy. Basically, when it comes to music theory and you have notes that are side by side from each other, that's probably going to be a clash. That's why we don't like plonk our entire fist down and create music like, because that's just clash, 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 clash. Usually music sounds better when there's a bit of space between notes. So I probably won't do, yeah, as a personal preference, the max I will do in terms of having a clash is, which is C, D, G. But you could even just really narrow it down to the 5 and the 1. So I think that's a much better spaced out chord for that moment of verse 1. That was nice, like, you know, she was trying to do a, like it, the dun, 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 dun. If I was to really be critical about it though, what you can think about is how you want to make your verse 2 different from your verse 1. So I'm not sure if Rachel actually recorded a full version where there's verse 1 and verse 2. Sometimes we just need to sort of fast forward things. And if you don't have a verse 2 again, and maybe you want to make your verse 1 a lot more decorative. But in this case, if I was gonna have to play a verse 2, then maybe I'll reserve for verse 2 instead. Like I won't do it here, because if you've already done it here, then you need to sort of up your level of decoration in verse 2, and I don't know if that's going to be overly decorative, and we don't want to have to do too much. Like, so basically guys, keep it simple at the start so that you have room to grow. Gonna move right along. Yep, so that was again another. Yeah, so I would not recommend having a, because that's again 3 notes side by side, so quite jarring and clashy. Rachel, stick to. Now, actually, my best suggestion when it comes to chord 5 is not just, because that's like a pure chord 5. I would do a 7. I would do a 4th. I'll do a 4/3 suspension on 5s, and also this is taught in the 31 Days to Better Worship Keyboard Playing. So that's really a book with a lot of foundational stuff that you can check out to just fast track a lot of chord secrets on how you can play better. But I would probably, instead of doing this, I would do, yep. So every time chord 5 is played, use 4/3 suspension. I think that's a really good, safe rule to keep. Okay, great. So I hear, right? So that was, let's talk about where we are. It's from verse to chorus. If I were to recall how Hillsong did it, they probably just went straight into the chord G without any. That's when I was supposed to wake up, so the alarm was going off. But guys, I think there is no need to go into da da da, because it's a little bit too sort of grand at a very sort of beginning part of the song. So I'll probably just go straight on to, oh, I need you, and lift my hands to heaven. Yeah, so I'll just go straight on into it because it's still the very beginning of the song. I don't want to do too much too soon. Okay, so yeah, I hear a lot of like thick chords and a lot of movement within the chords. Same principle, keep it simple. Rachel, don't do too much too soon. I hear. Yep, so like let's like moving lots of stuff. I might only reserve some kind of this kind of playing only in chorus 2 or even 3. Moving on. Yep, so okay, so here's like I think that's okay, but it can sound even better. So that's like da 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 da, you are in control, right? That's the section we're at. I think we should keep it even simpler and make it even more contemporary worship feely by sticking to Everlasting 1 and 5. So I would probably recommend. Okay, so that's all captured on the screen. If you want to see what I played, go into the Inspired Keys Academy and you can access that video. But yeah, and if you feel like that's a bit too low, then you could double with a pinky finger on the top G and go. Yeah, so I kind of went. So that's like a moving parallel 6th interval, and that always sounds great. Okay, so I would do da 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 da. Yep, and what you need to realize is that I have a 1 and 5 embedded within all of those chords that I was playing, right? So I feel that it's the 1 and the 5 that's inside the chord that makes all the difference in the sound, that makes it so contemporary and pop sounding, but also appropriate to the genre for Hillsong. Moving on. So that was like a Yep. If it was me, I probably wouldn't do that at that point. Like, I think it would be, I'll just keep it simple. That I'm in control. Da, 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 da. Yeah, so I probably would just stick to what notes my fingers are already at instead of doing something new, like, because da 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 requires me to actually play something new. Keep it simple, and it actually could sound better. You know, like when people say keep it simple, like KISS, keep it simple, and that's not a very good word after that. Yeah, sometimes there's value in that. Really, there is more when there's less. So yeah, I don't think that I would do that at that moment. So that's just a personal preference, guys. Moving on. Yep, so okay, so now this is a chord 1, and Rachel was sort of rolling up her chord up and down, like, right? The thing about chord 1, when you play it very pure, again, it sounds very Mozart. And we don't want to sound like Mozart in worship music. So the best solution to that is to bring your 3 down a step so that it becomes 2, and then you have that. Yeah, I think that instantly solves a problem, Rachel. So don't play 3, play 2, and roll it up and down the same way. It's going to sound much better. And then the next thing she did was, she did like a run. And I think there's nothing really wrong with da 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 da. But maybe, again, as a personal preference, I would probably not do that. I would do, yeah, because this is a 5, and if at chord 5s I'm going to do a 4-3 suspension, I might as well just decorate that suspension. So basically the basic chord was, right? But because that's boring, that's play, play, and I want to create a rhythm that's a little bit more exciting, like play, 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 right? So then I will just use whatever my fingers were already landing on and do, yeah, that's what I will recommend. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so I hear, I think that's all right. Let's moving on. I think what I'm hearing also is a little bit of muddiness that comes from over pedaling. So the thing about sustain pedal, guys, is that when you pedal, you really need to listen to the chord. When you've already changed a chord, and especially at a moment where you're having and change and change, so that's where you have 2 chords in a bar instead of just 1 in a bar. You actually really need to clean the chord palette by clearly lifting up your sustain pedal and putting it down again, because if you don't, you're going to have a bit of the previous chord in this new chord, and then you end up having a bit of, and that's like holding pedal down for all 3 chords and hearing all 3 chords at the same time. Bad idea. So do not do that. Change your chords clean. I think that's something that Rachel could do at that very moment. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that Rachel's left hand went like, okay, so in general, try not to have your left hand play triads. So, because currently the left hand goes, so I would recommend doing this anytime compared to, okay, so I would do, yeah, so don't do, we don't want to hear that sound. No. Okay, moving on. Okay, yeah, so this part sounds really nice. I like everything that Rachel was playing, but I suspect the tempo is pretty fast. I think it's gotten a lot faster than the recording. So once again, it comes back to tempo. So Rachel, what you gotta do is get your metronome, turn on the tap function, and tap your tempo in there and see how much you fluctuated from the front, like the intro, and from where you are right now. I have a feeling you've gone much faster. Okay, moving on. Okay, so currently I'm hearing, so it's like the left hand went. Now that's a very Mozart classical accompaniment style. Okay, hello. Looks like when I get out of YouTube, I have to restart a new live video. I'm so sorry. But I'm actually continuing my critique on Rachel's playing for Hillsong's In Control. So instead of doing, I highly recommend something like, so this kind of a, okay, so go access the video that's gonna be in the Academy. It's basically more spread out chords instead of, so we don't wanna do triadic chordal accompaniment. Okay, tempo issue here. I really think that Rachel's gone really, really fast, so don't go faster, please. Yep, so quite a lot of these, this whole section, I really think that she's gotten it right in terms of the rhythms, like da 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 dum, da da dum, da 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 dum. I'm hearing that, and I think I really like that a lot because, you know, she's kind of building up to a climax here. But I will once again suggest don't do da 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 dum, like don't do that, okay? Just spread out your left hand a whole lot more. It's gonna sound a lot better. Okay, so here is a section where it's almost like your Mozart piano sonata going. It's where all the semi-quaver rhythms come into play, and it's very revealing of your finger technique. So when you're going to be doing, right, it's very technical. It will reveal whether you're good with your scales and your hand-in and your finger technique, how strong and how good your finger controls are, guys. So go access the Inspired Keys Academy YouTube course where I teach specific things you can do to strengthen your fingers and to be able to play these notes evenly, because you can play them, and Rachel played them correctly, but the problem was there are moments of unevenness, and when you have unevenness, it just comes through as just a little bit lacking technique, and it just doesn't sound so pleasant. So we're shooting for high standards here. So what I really want all of us to do is to really work on our finger technique and go back to the boring stuff. I don't think it's boring, actually. I think it's pretty fun playing scales and arpeggios and hand-in. Maybe I'm a geek, but it's really important, because when you do that, you end up making your running notes, like a section like Hillsong's In Control, you end up sounding a whole lot more even. And I'm not even saying that I'm perfect, but I definitely did put in many hours of practicing these technical exercises when I was a piano student, and I feel like I've benefited from it. But I do think it's important for all of us to continue practicing these technical exercises as we go, because these muscles will loosen and relax, and it's kind of like we need to join the gym and go to the gym frequently, and in the same way we got to do these technical exercises frequently as well. So what you want to do is just to play and record yourself, and when you play back, analyze and critique yourself and see if it's even. And if you detect any unevenness, think about what kind of finger numbers you're using. In general, God has given us strong first few fingers, like fingers 1, 2, 3, and the weak fingers are 4 and 5. So one big thing that you can help yourself with playing evenly is to assign as many of the notes as possible to the strong fingers, right? So if I were to have to play, that's 4 notes per motive, I probably, instead of playing 1, 3, 4, 5, which comprises of 2 of the weak notes, I might actually do 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you actually need to do is to try it out and be pretty critical with the way you play, hear yourself, listen to yourself, and see what you can do to improve on that kind of a running figuration. I also think that in terms of tempo, Rachel might have fluctuated a little bit here, so do go check that on a metronome. Yeah, so that's like a moment where it was pretty obvious that Rachel kind of slowed down. So do be very, very critical. You might even want to play along with a click track in your ear, guys, so that you alone hear the tick, tock, tock, tock. Or in this case, because there's so many in between notes, I might go double the speed and go tick, tock, 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 tick, tock, tock, tock. And so that you can always guide and sync yourself with a very regular metronome steady beat. That was a really nice chord, like the B and the G on the left hand. Beautiful, do that. So once again, don't do the, okay. I'm also trying to figure out where this section is, because it's 4. I actually can't remember. I don't think that this is the correct chord progression for Hillsong's In Control. Now, Rachel, if you're watching this, let me know if I missed out something, but I don't remember having a section where it's chords changing every 2 beats. So I think fundamentally the chords here are incorrect. So yeah, no, I think there's something wrong with this section. You really need to check that again. Still the bridge. I will trust in only you. Yeah, you know what? I think, Rachel, you might have condensed everything from 4 counts into 2 counts. But no, they have to strictly stay with 4 counts. So I think what Rachel is trying to do, I know that she wants to know how to play with build up, right? So right now she wants to go building up like... That's probably what I think Rachel was doing. So you need to have 4 counts a bar, not 2. Yeah, I figured that out. But then Rachel was asking me in the email to me that she feels like she's just banging a lot whenever you're doing a lot of climax. Sometimes, and I think whatever she did, assuming those chords were correct in terms of like the length of the chords, I actually think that they're okay, especially if you're the only one playing. But I feel that when it comes to sort of like playing how much and how intensely to play, if you're playing with a drummer, you really need to listen to what the drummer is doing and play in line with the drummer. This is a very natural instinct kind of thing, so I can't like give you a formula, although I plan to in a couple of days share what you can play with your left hand like it's a bass guitar, you know, and punctuate together with the drummer. But if I was Rachel, I think that whatever she did in terms of like the intensity of her chords were fine. Okay, so I still think that was okay. But Rachel, what you might want to do is to this time get the chords duration correct and send me a new recording, and then I can listen to how you build up with that set of new chords. So let's move on. Okay, right, so she's gone back to chord the verse now, and I'm hearing. Okay, so you do want to think very carefully about how you play intensively, because right now I'm hearing left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, bum, da 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 dum, da 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 da. Okay, so the problem with that is I feel that's not in sync with the drummer. If the drummer, okay, so in this case she's playing alone, but then you can refer to the drummer in the recording, right? So the drummer in the recording, if I'm not wrong, there's quite a bit of space. It's still, even though we're at the chorus after the bridge, it's probably doom 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 to tap, doom 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 to tap. So it's still, I call it a pretty spacious, like spaced out drum groove. So I would not do, because I would only do that if I hear that the drummer's doing dum to tap 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 tap. So then you're in sync. Okay, and you gotta be in sync. You gotta think of how you can all sound together like one person, like one team. And so I would probably listen to the recording carefully and then try and play it so that if I were to play at that section, I would probably lift my, and this is a climax, lift my hands to heaven. So there's still a little bit more space, and the reason why at that chord 4 I went bum da dum da dum da dum da 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 dum dum, it's because I remember that the drum kind of had this turnaround, and it was doing something like that. It was doing tap 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 doom 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 tap. So that's something that you kind of need to pay attention to, guys. So as a keyboardist, you never just listen to the keyboard part, and I think this is true for any musician. If you're not a keyboardist and you're watching this video, you need to take away that when you listen to a song, don't just listen to your part, listen to everyone's parts, especially the drummer, because that dictates how we play. So moving straight on. Yep, same thing for whatever I said just now. Don't do da 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 da. Listen to the drum groove and play aligning in sync with the drums. Yep, so I don't know if you heard that, but there was a little bit of a gap before she went into the next chord of chord 6. Yep, you cannot allow yourself to do that. So if you still do that, like correct yourself, like practice going from one chord to another on time. Do not be late, do not be early. You gotta land on your chords on time, guys. Yeah, so I think that the running notes are okay, actually. My issue with this section was that because she just finished a climactic section, and I think this section is still pretty climactic, but what I'm hearing is like she went from this low range to that high range, which is a problem because if you're pretty climactic still, your pitch range shouldn't jump so high so quickly. So Rachel, I will still keep at the low range. So I know you want to have a change in your accompaniment patterns, but I probably wouldn't jump up an octave so much. I would probably do the same octave area, like, so this pitch range still, like, I'll play less intensive rhythms, but I'll stick around that same pitch range. I actually think that these piano runs are really nice, and so for those of you who are watching and you want some ideas, that's a nice little run that you can use. So that there was a little bit of like wavering, like she wasn't sure what to do next. So make sure that you get all of these. Like, it's okay to be not sure, but it's not okay to play it like that in a real worship set. You really want to make sure you've put in your homework, and then when you show up and you serve, you're actually serving a very polished product, guys. So if you have any uncertainties, sit down at home and work it out so that you are able to play at a pretty good standard when you're actually serving. Stage of the song, because she's at her final 10 seconds, I probably won't do, because that's like play. It's pretty intensive rhythms when you're about to die off. If I was gonna finish this song, I'll have more space in between, so I'll probably stick to just chord, chord, chord. And I'll probably also go an octave a bit lower, like one octave lower. I'll probably use this voicing instead. Chord, chord, chord. Yeah, because I want to have a sense of finish. I want to have a sense where I'm finishing a chapter, I'm finishing a song, I'm going low in the pitch, and I'm having space in between. Okay, so that's how I'll be thinking. Okay, cool. I like how Rachel was trying to do a nice little finish that's, I think, different from Hillsong. And it's important for us to know how to finish things nice, right? So, and it's okay to create something new as well. So I probably won't do... So that's, once again, a very clean chord. Don't use a clean chord. Use a sus chord, like do... And then I like how she did a... Right? So a recommended ending, I think that worked. Just don't use a clean chord. I'll probably do something like da 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 da. Now lower. Da 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 control. Or so. My goodness, that was such an in-depth tutorial. And if you were watching the whole time, I really hope you got a lot out of this. Guys, I am gonna be on YouTube Live every day this week. Look at the description box below. And I really want to see you live, because when you ask a question live, you get priority, and I want to answer your questions first. First priority still goes to Inspired Keys Academy members, and you do not want to miss out on a week full of discounts. The discounts do, the prices do climb as the week unfolds. So if you want to join the Inspired Keys Academy, this is the best time to join. The annual membership, you get $100 off if you join today, $80 off if you join on Tuesday, $60 off on Wednesday, you get $40 off if you join on Thursday, you get $20 off if you join on Friday. So come in early and you'll be fine. So today's discount code is 199, gives you $100 off straight away, 3 numbers into the discount code. All of the details are below, and I look forward to meeting you tomorrow at Melbourne time, 10 a.m., where I'm going to be answering your questions, and I will see you then. I'm just going to look quickly. Cool. Vitor says hi, great, and Ali says cool, very informative. Ali is from Zambia. Awesome to have you all the time, Ali. Thank you for coming and watching the YouTube videos so often. And yep, that's it. I don't see oh my goodness, it is 50 it's 12:55 a.m. in the morning. Thanks so much for watching at such a late time. I really hope that this helps the way you play wherever it is you're watching. Guys, leave a comment below. Let me know any other worship keys questions you have, and I'll see you in the upcoming live YouTube videos. Take care and God bless.